All right, I guess we get started. I'll just say hi everybody. This is the Real Life Uses of Music Technology for Music Educators. I'm Herbert Midgley, and I won't go into a boring bio of my life, but just trust me, I know about technology and whatnot, and that's why I'm here today. So I want to thank TMEA and Time for having me out, as well as SFA for having me out. It's the college that I teach at, so there I am. All right. Well, before I even get started, how many folks are this kind of college? How many folks are college area, high school, elementary? Awesome. Great. And how many folks use some type of technology in their classrooms already? Oh, great. You know, I've been coming here since 98, 97. And when I walk around the floor, the convention floor, it's amazing how pervasive technology is now. It's almost, one example was when I started first teaching at SFA in 99. I remember someone came into the electronic lab with a bag phone. That was the portable phone at the time. And now everybody has their cell phones, and they're smaller and smaller. They're text messaging all day long and everything. And the paradigm has changed. And at that point, once you see this technology everywhere, you no longer think of it as technology. It's just a part of your life. And you kind of think, well, can I live without a cell phone? Can I live without these devices and whatnot? So I'm going to go through a quick little spiel. I don't want to talk at you, direct teach at you too much, but I'll do a little bit of that. And there's my big question there. And basically, if we think about some things like CD players, I mean that's technology. Electronic keyboards, tape recorder, that was a technology at one point. Still good technology. Record player, videotapes, computer, internet, overhead projectors, slideshows. So all these things are technologies that you use, and at some point we just thought, we don't think of CD players as being a piece of technology, but for music education, especially for elementary, I taught elementary for a while, I used CD players all the time, and it was great. And before that, there was tape decks, and that was great, and then before that, there was records. So we're perceiving that as being technology. So at one time, the paper, the pen, the pencil, chalkboard, these were all new technologies. Let me go back one. I often think about, if you look at the autograph scores of Beethoven, if you ever look at those, it's how there's ink everywhere and he's scratching things out and whatnot. Imagine how much more music you potentially could have wrote if you had as a pen or a pencil. You can erase something and not have to go scratch things out. So all these things are technologies at one point. And probably the reason why you're here, you do want to use technology a little bit more in your classroom. One thing is this: we see all these words up here. I could put podcasts up there also as well. You hear all these different buzzwords and technology words, and it's very easy to be overwhelmed. It's hard for me to keep up. I'm really into doing technology a great deal, and it's hard for me to keep up with all the stuff that comes out. So I understand it being overwhelming at times. And computers getting faster and faster, and all these buzzwords. And there are times I feel that I can't catch up. The one thing is this: you don't have to be an expert on everything to use technology in your classroom. Don't feel like you have to be an expert on everything. There's always people around that you can get a hold of that can help you out with things. And you probably all know your computer gurus, the people that are really good with things. So especially the first step, I didn't step in here the first time using technology back in the late 80s and knew everything. I just started at one point. So my advice to you, especially if you're a little overwhelmed or scared about things, is just keep it simple. Pick the technology that will help you teach. Avoid technology that's not going to help you teach effectively. I think of, let's say, for a while they're doing PowerPoint presentations. Everybody was seeing that you need to do some type of PowerPoint presentation with a data projector and whatnot. Well, if that's going to make you teach better, yeah. But if it's going to be distracting, and I've seen some PowerPoint presentations that the text is so small that there's dancing pictures up there, and I look at it and think, man, I really fail to see the educational value of this. Am I really learning anything, or am I getting distracted by that? And that's one reason why my PowerPoint presentations are pretty boring, is text mainly, because I want to make sure it's big enough so everybody can see it as well. Yeah, y'all can see that. So remember that, and just kind of keep that in your back of your mind, that technology, I think back, I'm old enough to remember when the computers first came out, and then when I was in the 7th grade, they bought I think it was a PET computer or something like that. And it was, anyways, and they put it in the math person's classroom, assuming that she knew about how to use a computer. I mean, she didn't know anything how to use computers. So some guy that could do some basic, and he was tapping it, some simple basic program. I think, what a waste of money that really was. And that was probably a $3,000, $4,000 computer sitting in the classroom. We didn't use it at all for anything. It was just sitting there. And spending $3,000, $5,000. And one thing's also, I'm a very cheap person, and as educators, we all have to be that way. And none of us went to this business to make money. We went in for other things. I get paid back with a lot of other things than money. But because of that, we don't have a whole lot of money. Well, I was riding a trolley over here. That's how cheap I am. I'm staying at the Motel 6 a mile away, and take an 80-cent trolley up here and save a great deal of money. And they were talking about this big wedding that was going on, and all this money they were spending. And I'm thinking, wow, that's great. And I'm about done for teaching it, y'all. Technology is just a tool. It's no different than any other tool. You can't use it effectively. It's not going to help anyone learn. Don't just use technology to use it. Last year, the Silver Brigade people were out, right? And all these iPods. Anybody have an iPod? Do you know how to use it? Some folks are using it. Awesome, great. I was talking to some folks that have an iPod, and I have no idea what to do with this. It's still sitting in the box. They told me not to open it until we had some in-service on using the iPod.
Give it to a kid.
I know, well, that's what I said. Just find somebody in the class. Just find somebody in your class that probably show you more than you'd ever need to know with it. So just don't use technology just to use it. Use it to help you teach music. Try to avoid using technology that's not going to really help you teach anything. So all this is pretty simple. With technology, you can save time, make things more efficient, find another source of instruction for your students. So let me briefly go over some the uses of music technology for the music educator. Get some nice sounds. How many folks are decent pianists in here? Oh, great. Awesome. Well, you probably don't know this, but there's a lot of folks out there that can't play piano well enough, and the computers can play back for you. You can make CDs. I'm going to show you a couple of ways of doing that. Computer-assisted instruction. Depending on if you're in elementary or band or choir, and I often think of the folks that are gifted and talented, and as well as the at-risk children. Computers can just sit there and they never get mad, never get frustrated. So that if you're working on rhythms, if you're working on note reading, the computer doesn't get mad at you and it sits there just waiting for the right answer. If it's wrong, it says, try again. Composition. Any composers out here? I know I see a few folks out now that are composers. Anybody improvise much in here? That seems to be a little bit of a lost art when we study traditional classical music in schools. And I think back to all the, I think of Bach and Mozart, Beethoven, all those cats could improvise. All those cats could play great. And that's just something we're so stuck reading notes on a page that, do your own cadenza. Well, I don't know where to start at. Hopefully that's going to be improved as time goes on. Handouts, tests and quizzes are some of these potential uses for technology. So let's just dive right into it. Let's talk about digital audio a little bit. As you probably all know, the way computers works, you're not recording sound so much in here as you're recording information, little ones and zeros, little ons and offs. And basically when I have a microphone and I'm recording it into the computer, it's taking the analog information and convert it to some digital information, and then when it plays back out, it's reconverting it out to analog so we can hear it. Okay, I'm gonna get out of this part. PowerPoint. Last time I didn't use this PowerPoint at all. So, let's get into Audacity. So here's a microphone. This is a relatively inexpensive microphone. I got it at Radio Shack. I think it was $10, $12. And it has the 1/4 inch, and then on here I have an adapter for the 1/8 inch, and then I have a little stereo adapter just for fun. And put that in there. There are ones that now hook up to USB as well, and they sound a little bit better. There's a little bit less noise from that. This here, if you're caring about the quality of sound, the more expensive the microphone, the better. As I say, the more better quality the microphone is, the better the recording is going to be. And there's a saying in computers and technology: garbage in, garbage out. I went to the drive-through window at McDonald's last night, and I had to ask, could you repeat that again 3 times, because they use the same diaphragm for basically the microphone and the speaker. And you're speaking in there, and it's coming back. And so I wish they would invest in a little bit better technology on the microphones, or at least our speaker. But apparently they haven't. So if you want to record something that's really good, spend if you can get a $50 to $60, $100 range microphone, those are usually good enough for what we're doing. Of course, I went to one session here, and he was talking about a $50,000 microphone, and that's, I'm sure, more budget than any of us really have, because we are music educators, and we get paid in other things than currency. This program and all the programs I'm showing you today are free programs, and they work both on Mac, PC, and a couple of them work on Linux. This one works on Linux as well. Anybody Linux in here? Awesome. Well, you can use Audacity with Linux if you want to. This program's called Audacity, and you can. If I had the internet, I could show you. Just go into Google, type in Audacity. I'll have actually it's on the handout as well where the website's at. And let's look at it first. Well, yeah, you all can see it pretty well. Let's just kind of go over some of the steps. What does this look like to you here? Yeah, a tape recorder. Most of the time when I ask the folks in the technology classes, they always say CD player, because a lot of them have never had a tape recorder. Back in the olden days, we used to have a little function on here that was a record button. And a lot of times you had to hold down the play and the record button at the same time. And so it's tape. So if you analogize it, this is basically a tape recorder. There it is. There's the play button, the record, the pause, the stop, the fast forward, and the rewind button. And basically, I'll just do some live sound first. And I'm going to hit record, have my microphone ready to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the real life uses of music technology for music educators. Hit stop and hit rewind. Hit play. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the real life uses of music technology for music educators. I guess that's the way I sound. Didn't they used to say this is the way you sound? If you put your hands like that, that's how you actually sound to other people. I must have made that up. So basically, I just recorded, analog to digital, and then had it come out to where you can hear it again. And once I had this WAV file on here, I can do some really cool things to it. And so I'll just go ahead and, I guess I could do a quick little musical performance of what I got on me. I didn't get a free, usually I get a free recorder. I didn't get a free recorder this year, but I got my harp with me. So I'll just record a little bit of harp music for you. I didn't say it was going to be good. The beautiful thing about the harp, if you didn't know this, you just blow right into it. That's the 1 chord. That's the 5 chord in it. You can get the 4 chord also. So it's pretty easy. It's all 1 chord. So I didn't realize that till a couple months ago. So I got a little. That sounds decent. That sounds, that sounds like the harmonica, at least in the ballpark, especially for a $12 microphone. That didn't sound too horrible. So now I got this. I got a few little blurbs on here and whatnot, and basically, because it is little ones and zeros, I can take this little area up here. This is basically, I won't call it a cursor, but you can highlight this area here, and I hit backspace, and it's gone. And so now, and I got a little bit of a pop here. I guess when I put the microphone down, I can highlight that and hit delete on that. And now I have a good little 7.5 second long piece that I can do some things to. And basically, the quickest thing that I can do is I can say file. I can export it as a WAV file or as a Midi file. And if I'll just say WAV file for right now. I'll call this harp. Actually, when I was walking up here, they had like 8 harps playing this beautiful music. It made me feel like I died in heaven. But it was just TMEA, so hit save. And now basically I can burn this to a CD now. Because most of the computers you're going to get now is going to have a CD burner. Right? Now make sure, don't buy a computer without a CD burner today. There's no reason why not to do that. And if you have a CD burner, it's going to come with some type of burning software and whatnot. So as simple as that, with a free program you can download, you can record. What's some possibilities that some of y'all can see that you can do with this program now? Sight reading? So you record your sight reading performances? Record individual students? Rehearsals?
One of our tests has to do with evaluating performance. So you have them sing, and then you play it back to them and say, tell me, what can we do to make that sound better? What did we do well? And then, do you want to do it again? Yes. And we can do it again. What I like about this is when I do it, we have a rolling recording studio.
Mm-hmm.
On this, I can just open another file. It's a whole lot faster, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But the sound quality may not be as good.
It's the microphone.
And how many inputs? You can only have one microphone input?
For this, but you can actually buy external, like a USB device, and like a Tascam 224 or the Inbox something or another, and you can have just direct inputs in that way.
One of the benefits that I see is that you can see your dynamic visually. So if you are recording rehearsal or just whatever individual stuff, so while you get crescendo here, but as you can see, you're not, and it's
yeah, definitely. Any other possibilities you can see with this? Yes, sir.
We've had a lot of speakers, and sometimes they start talking, and then they get
Yeah.
It goes out.
I'm not doing that, am I? Am I doing the uhs? I try not to.
Why is it showing up 2 times?
Because I record this as a stereo file. I can record this as a
Did you
mono.
put the stereo?
Well, I just have this default as stereo for right now. Even at a mono microphone, it's going to record it as stereo until I tell it not to.
Going through that port that you're talking about, could you distinguish a separate microphone?
This only has one input.
Yeah.
So I could theoretically get a splitter, though, if I wanted to do that.
Yeah, I was thinking it'd be neat if you could look at, put it in front of this section,
Yeah.
this section, and this
Have
section.
2
and
mics.
say, this one looks like this one looks real well. How can each other looking at it? Who was singing at the right volume?
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
add another track to that?
Yeah, oh, definitely, definitely. And I went to a session yesterday that was in here, and the program was, I don't know, it was $60, $70, and all you can do is a stereo recording. And that cost you $70. This is free, and you can do a whole lot more than that. Okay, I had the harp. Last year I brought my guitar. I just didn't bring the guitar this year, but I did bring my voice. Let me get in tune. There we go. Normally I don't do this because I get a bleed through. I would have the headphones on, but just for our purposes, I won't do that. So I'll just hit record. Whoops. Make sure it's at the right place. Hit a little X to close it out. Hit rewind. Okay, Herbert. Yeah, TMEA. Yeah. Y'all didn't know I sang that well, did you?
Burn it.
So now,
Yeah, TMEA.
and what I can do now is that I can mix this a little bit. I can say, well, I want the harp to be a little bit hotter, so I'll go up 3 dB.
Yeah, TMEA.
So if I want the harp, even on the fly, I can.
Yeah, TMEA.
So one quick thing about mixing, if something's too soft, you have 2 options, right? You either bring that up or you bring the other one down, or you do a little bit of both. So that's mixing 101, that's basic mixing. And there it is. And I can do this as many times as I want. Yes, sir.
Is there any way to record the data on your mixing on that, on Audacity? Say if you want to mix a track soft and then have it get louder.
Oh yes, there's some plugins we can do. I guess we're getting to the plugins now. So the whole thing is this: I want to make sure you see the concept that you can multi-track record. Most of the time, in a band or choir area, you're not going to multi-track record too often, right? Because you're doing what they call I went to a session and he called it what do you call it? Historic performance. I forgot what it was, but basically you have one time that you're going to record. You're going to play something live. You're going to do a live recording. Yes, ma'am.
Unless you're making like a learning CD, you might have 4 parts. You record all 4 parts, but then when you want to say you leave out the alto, then you have the other 3, so the alto could learn to fit their part in with the other 3.
That's an awesome idea, and you can do that for all potential parts if you wanted to. You as a singer could definitely sing all the parts if you needed to, and then take it out and say altos only and tenors only or sopranos only. Great idea. Great idea. Yes, ma'am.
How new is the operating system on the computer?
I believe it's 98. Windows 98. I believe Windows.
What about on a Mac?
On a Mac, there's a version that works on OS 9. Yeah. That's the great thing about open source software is that these programmers are kind of like us. They don't get paid. They do this because they love programming, they love making software, they like making something that competes that's just as good or better. And in my mind, this is actually better than the light version of SoundForge that I saw yesterday. So that's and it's free. And you can put this on if you have a computer lab. Get your tech guy to put it all in there. Get you a $12 microphone, which is more than any piece of software, which is cheaper than any piece of software you're going to get. And you can have them go sing their songs in there or play a potential instrument. Also, the computer processing speed doesn't need to be very fast. I believe it works on a 200 megahertz machine with 64 megs of RAM. Yeah, you're laughing. I mean, that's back 2000, 99, 98 range. Yes, sir.
Will it import MIDI files?
This will import MIDI files. And to be honest, I haven't played around with it. I'm going to show you a way to import MIDI files to make them audio in a minute, though. I got a free program that will do that, sir. And then you can bring it to Audacity and edit from that. Yeah.
One more question.
Yes, ma'am.
I've never done this before. Where do you plug in the microphone?
On a laptop, all laptops should have like a microphone area. On the desktop, you should have a sound card. If you don't have a sound card that has an audio input in there, they're about $15, $20 for, and your TI person can put that in there. There's also USB devices that you can do it and they're a little bit more pricey, $30 range to, I mean, I really like the Tascam 224. I don't know if anybody has one of those in here. It's a really good bang for your buck. And again, I don't get paid. Period, really, but I'm not getting paid by anybody, so I was telling you what I like. I do like, if you have $450, I do love the Pro Tools M-Box. It's M-Box, right? Yeah. It's a great system, but a lot of us don't have $500 to go down for that. Okay, great. Let me, we'll just take this example. And, as great as my voice sounds, let's see if we can, up here, these effects up here. Now let's see, let's make me, I can have some, I can equalize it a little bit. And to be honest, I don't understand all these here, but we can try a few of these. And I feel like Columbia 78. And it looks like they made it a little bit hotter.
Yeah, TMEA.
Okay, man, that's horrible. I do have ears. I do have ears.
Do the echo.
Yes, the echo. Help me out a little bit. Let's pretend we're in a.
Does Audacity allow you to modify the pitch once it's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
fixed flat notes?
Yeah. Do I
Yeah, TMEA.
That's probably too much. I won't do that. So let's get in here a little bit more. This little button here lets me get really close into the pitch to know exactly, and then this zooms out. So what you can do is, and I'm going to show you some cool things in a minute. How much? And someone keep me on task. How much more time I got left? Is it 2:45?
Yeah.
Okay, so I got 5 minutes. All right. I had somebody give me a hand signs out there. Let me know what time we're at. Let me just do another example. Let me just get rid of this great thing.
You can cut and paste with it. You can.
Oh yeah, definitely. If let's say this part here was really good, I can highlight what I want, copy it, put it where I want it, put it at. I'll say there, and I'll hit paste. And I can do it as many times. If I want to put it up front, I'll just put the cursor where I want it, and hit paste. So again, that was the big thing that the Soundforge did yesterday, and that was $70, and this is free. So, and yeah, I'll just play it back, but. Yeah, and same thing. Like, let's say, well, this part here, I don't really like that part right there. And if I want, I can zoom in, like I said, to make sure I know I'm getting the little wave files completely, and I didn't quite get that when I was way out. And if I highlight that and hit delete, it's gone. So it's really nice. It's really, I like how the software works. It's pretty intuitive, especially once you get to see how things are working. Okay, good.
And this is free, so I could, potentially, I could load it in on my lab computer.
It's free. Everything I'm going to show you today is free because again, I'm cheap. I'm a music educator. I have nothing to sell. I paid $120 to come here and talk to y'all, just like y'all paid $120 to be here, or maybe you paid I guess $110 if you paid a little bit early. So I'm only here because I love showing technology to all our friends out there. Good. Let me do one other thing. Let's say. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. That's one of my favorite tunes.
Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little.
Okay, let's pretend that this was, and this may get out of the scope of things, but I want you to see potential. Let's say that you have a song that your children really want to dance to if you're in elementary or whatnot, and it has a bad word in it. That happens, right? So,
Constantly.
yeah, and you know, it is a shame that it's just so pervasive now we don't even think about it. But let's say that little was a bad word.
Little lamb, little lamb,
So let's look where little's at.
little,
So there's that part right there. That's little right there, right?
little, little lamb, little lamb,
So it's almost right on the lamb there.
little.
So there's that word right there, little. And you see, when I highlight it and I hit the space bar, it just repeats it.
Little,
That way I
little,
can find it. And what I do a lot of times, say, well, you know, I can just hit delete, and it's gone. If you listen to it now.
Mary had a lamb, little. Mary had a lamb.
So that whole part's gone. If I undo that. The other thing is that, well, now it's dropping a beat if you're dancing to it, if you're moving to it. So what I have done with this, and I've done this with, see, there's like Grease was a hand job. It was one of those that had like a, real quick, it's a bad word in it. I can't remember which one it is, but and say, well, I can't drop a beat because we're dancing, and we're dancers, we don't count measures, we count beats. I did a similar presentation at the Taper. I don't know if anybody knows about Taper, but it's the PE dance convention that was in Corpus Christi. And they say, well, we count beats, we don't count measures. I said, okay. Well, let me show you a trick that you can do. And one thing is I can just go over and say under this effect, and this comes with it, is reverse it. Because if you reverse something,
Roasted, roasted.
I don't know what it is, but let's listen to it.
Mary had a roasted lamb, little.
You know, Lisa was if it was a cuss word, it's a cuss word backwards. And I didn't drop the beat. I didn't. Yes, sir.
You could also take the volume and turn it to 0 there, and as you're recording over it, just say "pretty lamb."
Actually, that's a great
and then
idea.
plug it right in with the.
Well, let's try this. Let's do that. That's actually a great idea. I should be able to go in there and usually the way I do it is fade in and fade out a bunch of times. So fading in and fading out, and so it's gone now.
Mary had a lamb.
So if I sync this up right, let's try that. That's actually a great idea. So pretty.
Mary had a
Pretty.
lamb, little lamb. Mary had a pretty lamb, little lamb, little.
Got the percussive going on there. That's great. You know what, sir? I never thought about doing
I've
that.
had to do that before.
That's awesome.
I've had a student cough in the middle of a concert. I had to go out and take the cough out, and then just record a little bit of my own voice.
You know what? Thank you. That's something valuable I can share with some other folks down the line. Yes,
Now,
sir.
can you cut and paste that in your original so you have one single file? Or,
This is
because
If
if
I could-
you dump that to a WAV file, it's going to send 2 WAV files, right?
no. This converts it down to a stereo file.
Oh, so
you can have 25 tracks, and then it compresses it down to two.
So
to
you
stereo.
don't need to
I don't
dump this
need
to one then.
If I wanted to, I could highlight it and just say copy it and put the cursor where I want it, and paste it in there. Actually, I probably should usually I do that. And, paste. Come on, Herbert. There we go.
Oh, and it does, okay.
Yeah.
And you can adjust the volume on that to take that.
Yeah, I could. One cool effect on here that's built in is what they call a normalizer, and to normalize it down, and you do the whole track and normalize it as well. So I think we're seeing that the whole point about this one being more of a hands-on is I went to a couple of sessions and the person just talks at you the whole time, which is great. But you care. I think most of you now can take Audacity and at least record something into Audacity, right? If you have if you do have a place to plug in a microphone on it. All right. Also, I'm coming back to Audacity. We're not done with Audacity, but I want to move on to one of our other friends that deals with digital audio, and it's actually iTunes. And what I'll do is I'll take. I guess I can move. I'll take a CD, and this happens to be my CD, so that way I know for sure I'm not breaking any copyright laws or whatever, so I'll just take something that I made. And there's a free program called iTunes, which probably a lot of you have already. If you have your iPod, you have to have it, because that's the only way the iPods work. So with that, let me turn mine. So here is, I'm going to show you how to rip a CD to make a potential a mixed CD and whatnot. And I'm not getting into the legalities of that. This is totally legal because this is me. This is Herbert Midgley right here. So put a CD in there, and it'll pop up in a moment, hopefully. All right. And if I was hooked up to the internet, it would find all the song names and put it on there here as well. But we don't. Unfortunately, that's not hooked up to the internet. And I don't know if you've done that before, but like Windows Media Player does that automatically, and that makes life a whole lot easier. So if you want to know what part you're doing, you can hear that. So let's see which is a cool, fun song. I'll just take 24 because that's me playing recorder, I think. Okay, cool. So that's you've already heard me sing today. So what I can do is, if I want to, I can import the whole CD if I wanted to, but I can just do one track. And Most of you guys are PC, right? Anybody Mac in here? Oh, we have some Mac friends? Okay. If you hang around for the next session, I'll show you exactly where it's at for that. But basically, it's if you find a place that says File, well, it's actually under File on Mac. On PC, it's under Preferences. And what we're going to do is, there's going to be some type of tab that says Importing, something to that effect on there, depending on what version it is. And right now, I got it where I'm going to encode it as MP3. If I wanted to make sure it's the best quality, I can import it as a WAV file, and that's not compressed. That's exactly what came from the CD. WAV files are really a lot bigger than MP3s are. So if you don't have a lot of space and you want something that's pretty close to the recording, and I will get into exactly how the algorithms work for MP3s, but basically it works this way: is that when you have two things going on at the same time, you're mainly hearing the highest thing. So the other stuff you're not hearing. And so what MP3 does, it's called Lossy Compression. It takes things away to make it smaller. And at 120 kilobits, it's roughly 1/8 the size. It's 8 times smaller than a WAV file is. So I won't bore you and put you to sleep. I'm talking about all the little tech things. It's a lossy compression. There's lossless compression as well. That's out there, but MP3s is what caught on because that's what people were downloading and whatnot. So let's say I want to make this, I want this to be exactly ripped from the CD as a WAV file. So let me do that one more time because I always remember those little science videos that would always, and then there was like some major, this is how the universe worked, and you're like, huh? And then they would go on to some other fact. And so I'll like to show you a few times. So in iTunes, and this is a free download, you go to apple.com, and they got the link on here. You can download it. Edit, Preferences, and I remember I go slow now. I'll learn that over the last few years of teaching. And on here, it's probably going to be general as default, but find something that says Importing, something to that effect, and import using, I'm going to say WAV file, WAV encoder. Okay? And I hit OK. And now, if I right-click on that, I can say convert to WAV. I think I had that track selected. I should be also come under Advance. Is it Advance or? Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not popping up there. It should. Okay. Well, anyways, I know if I right-click on it, it gives me an option to convert it to WAV. So I'll do that. And now what it's doing, this is what they call ripping from the CD. I'm ripping data from the CD and putting it onto my hard drive. So this is what you do if you have a musical you're doing, a pageant, whatever you're doing, and you got 30 CDs. You can take one track from one CD, another track from another one, another track from another one, and then you make your mix CD from that. All right? Yes, ma'am.
As far as the record, we get CDs that have
1,000.
breakdown, like 4 tracks for one song. And when I tried to use this to put it together as one thing for a concert, there's a glitch in it. That's right.
There's a little hiccup. There's a little hiccup in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a software program that we can use to
What you can do is this: is that in your CD burning program, there's an option on there because you're getting a 2-second going through that. You can turn that 2 seconds off.
Really?
That's all you need to do. Find whatever your CD program is. Find one there, like I use Neuro on PC. I think you just right-click on it, and it says.
Why use iTunes?
iTunes, I believe it's under Preferences that I can go and say, is it burning? Yeah, here it is right here.
Yeah.
2 second gap here on burning. Just put it to 0 or none. So.
Can I take the iTunes and use it with another MP3 device?
There were a few that worked with iTunes but most of them, Apple really makes a lot of money from iPods. So, but you can, if it's MP3, you can put it on any MP3 player potentially.
Like I have an iPod and a Zentek
Uh-huh.
that was sent to my school. I've got all my CDs on my iPod, but I want to get it on the Zentek
Oh, okay.
without having to go through the whole
No,
process again.
I will say this: if you do a search on Google, you can find software that will extract information from your iPod, but it's outside the scope of this. But you could, if you look, and you have to look very hard, you just go on Google and you can find it very easily.
I know what it's called.
There you go. Yeah. And the reason why Apple does that, because it'd be too easy if I had my iPod, your iPod, and say, okay, let's go together, and then, you know,
No, I'm not saying.
I know that.
I'm saying taking from a computer where I've got everything saved
Uh-huh.
already, and then put the Zentek in and get all the information transferred over to
I
Zentek.
don't think Zentek works with the current version of iTunes anymore. I think at one point it did, some of the earlier versions it did. But if it's MP3, if you save it as MP3, you can just take that, find your iTunes folder, and then just use whatever software is with your Zentex, and then convert it over that way. So that's actually easy, and that should be legal as well.
Can you just click and just drag the MP3 file to another folder?
Yeah, if I wanted to, I can just, once I get the library up here, I can say, all right, I'll just take that and drag it to my desktop, and that's my MP3 there. Okay. On here's that track 24 that I ripped down. So the name of this song was called Chant, so I'll type that in there, and normally it'd be there from that, because I typed in all the names and sent to the database, and that way you put my CD in, and then your computer it shows all my names, and I look like I'm famous and whatnot. But basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that CD that I ripped, take that song that I ripped from the CD, drag this to my desktop now, and that's the track. And I'll minimize that. And here it is right there. And now let's go into our friend Audacity. And let's go do some things to it now. There it is. And if I listen to it, so I can do some things. That was a little hot there, so I can highlight it. Go under Edit and say Select All. All right. Well, heck.
There it is.
Is it down at the bottom? Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm used to seeing it right there. Usually, and also I use the Control key, Control A. I've gotten really good at using the controls on here and whatnot. And if I want to, I can say, all right, let's go into Effect, and I can say Normalize, and I won't do the whole thing, but I can normalize this if I wanted to. But let's say that I got this is a 3 minute, 6-second long song, and you know what? I only need a minute of it. All right, I need 30 seconds of it. Okay, so let's minimize this a little bit and find a 30-second range, and I'm going to highlight all the stuff I don't want. And goodbye, like it never happened. And then I'm going to go in a little closer on here, and here. So, and what I can do is that's kind of that's a abrupt ending. Well, I'll just highlight it. Maybe. And do fade out. And listen to it. I'm not quite sure why I did that, but that's okay. Ah, there we go. Maybe that's a little too rough, so maybe I need to get a couple seconds more. And I can just kind of keep working on with that a little bit. And so now I got a 32 second.
Can you retrograde it? Can you play it backwards?
Yeah, I can reverse it. I think it even sounds better that way. Most of the time you wouldn't do it. And I think about this. I got an undergraduate degree in theory and composition and a master's in theory and composition. I think back to the musique concrète, if some of y'all remember those things, how hard it was to go through. And my teacher used to go through and splice. 1 second a tape would be 4 feet long of this one sound, splice it and find another one. And it'd take you a year or two to make 5-minute piece that nobody wants to hear anyways. And with this here, you know, I can turn out that same thing in an hour, 30 minutes, and have basically the same effect on that.
I make audition CDs, like if I'm auditioning people for parts in a show or something.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll do the whole song. I'm thinking this is gonna be a lot easier than me trying to find starting and stop.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And what you could do potentially, if I wanted to, I could take that same track, and like you say, well, let's jump to section A, section B, section C. I could just do that for each one, like you're saying, and then go into iTunes or whatever and say 0 gap or none, and then it will play seamlessly through. We call it a taka, right? Without stopping.
Markers, you put rehearsal markers in so that you, let's say that you wanted to build something after 10 seconds. Could you call 10 seconds letter A, and then automatically have to go back to that point each time when you read it?
You know, it may have it in here. I haven't done that before, but I think I have seen some marker things in here before.
Well, I was just wondering, because I'm working with a 4-track pass cam with a cassette,
Mhm.
and that's got marker on it. If you want, I was wondering if you could go back to like
I haven't used that on here. It may be on here. And one thing that's neat about this software, they update it periodically because, again, this is open source software. And the one that's in beta right now looks really cool. Once they get it done, get it to alpha or get it ready to release, there's some really cool features on there. I just didn't want to show you a beta piece of software. I wanted to show you one that you can download that works and is reasonably stable. I've had Audacity crash on me, you know, and so I mean it's. But most pieces of software, I had Finale crash on me before as well. So I mean, computer programs crash, and what I usually tell folks to do is, like, if you're doing something that's important, restart your computer, make sure all the memory is cleared out from everything, and open up the one program you're using. So if I was going to record something that was a rehearsal, I mean, like performance that was going to happen one time, I'll restart the computer and open up Audacity only and run that. If you think of all the stuff that's running, I mean, I got my antivirus down here. Got QuickTime running down here, and I'd even probably go down and close down all the stuff that I know I don't need at that point as well. All right. Any questions on that? Yes, ma'am.
So then, how do you take that and then burn it onto
File, export as WAV,
a new?
just like I did before, and then I can take it to iTunes and save, and it's relatively quick. Bam. So if you do have a faster, if you have this on a 200 megahertz machine, it's going to work a little bit slower than that, but it'll get the job done. On a 2.4 or 3 gigahertz machine, it works pretty fast. Before I get done with Audacity, let me show you a couple things on the preferences, just to make it where you can use this thing right off the bat. Here is the input-output devices. So it will find whatever sound card you have. And if you have more than one, you can pick it here. So you can pick which one it is, and that's just the audio input. And what I have here is default is stereo, but I can say mono, I can say 16 for whatever reason it is. And this would be a device where you can put 16 in at the same time. I haven't seen one personally. Quality, that's a sample CD burn rate. There's no reason to do any higher than that because your CD burner won't burn anything higher than it anyways. So 44.1 is the highest that you can burn a CD at for CD burners that you have built in, so there's no reason to do anything else than that. Here in the file formats, and this is the one tricky thing that you need to do if you want to save this as an MP3. And what you can always do, if you couldn't figure out how to do this, you can take the WAV file into iTunes and you can save it as an MP3 for sure that way. But if you want to use this, you download a little piece of software that's called Lane Codec. And basically, the codec tells the computer how to compress and decompress things. And the Lane Codec is free. Someone went through and, again, this is open source, somebody went through and figured out how the algorithms to MP3s work and wrote it himself and distributed it free. So you have to pay the license for the MP3. I don't know if you guys realize or not, but the MP3 is something that every MP3 player or piece of software that uses MP3 has to pay a license to. Well, somebody didn't want to do that, so they wrote their own emulator basically and did that. So basically, you just find once you download, just find the library and click on it and hit open, and there it is. Then here, this is where you pick your bit rate. I'm going to say for sound quality and size, 160 kilobits is pretty good. It's good for most folks of what you want to do. It goes up to 320. If you get to 320, it's hard for me to tell the difference between a CD and an MP3. It's pretty good at that point. If you do something like what I do is I do podcasting, and it's just mainly me talking. I save it down to 64 because I don't need that much space. So when I do a podcast, and actually, if you guys heard of podcasting before or know of it, this is the program that I do a weekly educational technology podcast with some of my friends. And one of them is in Minnesota, one of them is in the Boston area, and I'm in Nacogdoches. And we get on Skype, and we all turn on Audacity together, and we go, okay, hello, welcome to Return of Whatever. Hello, welcome to the Return of Whatever. My name is Herbert Midgley, and I'll just splice them all together, save it down. I'll take they email me their MP3s of the track. I import them in, send them up, cut out what I don't need, and then save it down. So that's how you make a podcast, if you're curious about making a podcast.
What's it useful for?
A podcast?
Yeah.
It's for folks that can't get on radio and TV that want to have a voice.
No.
That's basically it.
Right.
We feel that we're all in education at one point or another. One of my friends is a programmer, one's in the servers, and I'm in education. So we have 3 unique ideas, and we talk about various topics of the week about education and whatnot. So if you feel like checking it out, it's on my website. And I put it on here. Return of Whatever. If you have anything else to listen to, it's definitely something to listen to. Yes, ma'am.
You're talking about recording as you're using Skype?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Can you change your input on that since you're not, or is it the same?
I'm recording. I'm using Skype only to talk. I'm recording locally on my computer. They're recording locally on their computers.
So it's not recording the whole
No.
conversation?
There's software that you can buy, but it's a little bit compressed. I didn't like it. So the sound quality was better when they emailed me their MP3s.
A little delay too.
Sometimes.
I talked to this person in Peru who's a composer, and when we try to do music together, it's like there's enough delay that I can hear my voice.
We haven't put a headphone on. You have to have headphones. Everybody has to have headphones on, or else you're going to get that. Like when you talk on the radio.
That's right.
When you talk on the radio. Yes, sir.
I was just going to say, yes, what's the benefit of podcast and stuff. Just for example, one of my friends came over and he was like, yeah, I heard this thing on the radio. It was actually a theologian named John Piper. So we started discussing it, and he was trying to say what he said. I was like, well, when we used to be on the computer, I looked up John Piper, had the exact thing that day that he had heard on podcast. So we listened to the whole radio broadcast again. So just stuff like that.
Or archive.
Yeah.
Well, it is podcasting, video casting. The thing is, the paradigm has changed greatly. I mean, I won't talk about this a whole lot, but like every one of you can be a music publisher. Every one of you can make music and put it on the internet. Every one of you now can be a radio star or a TV star if you want to. We Google video and whatnot like that. And basically, we're making our own content now, and that's scaring the big boys a great deal. I won't blow my own horn, but I wrote this dumb song called "I'm a Nerd," and made a video of me singing it in a stormtrooper outfit that I made, and I had 600,000 downloads of that. Can you imagine that? I mean, I wouldn't go with that dumb song.
Well, can we do
Why you should charge $1?
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody would buy it. But I think back 10 years ago. I mean, I wrote a symphony. I've written 12 band pieces. I've written a bunch of classical type stuff, and you maybe have 30 people hear it, maybe if that. And for me to think that that's something that I made, albeit it's a dumb, goofy song, I've had over 500,000 people listen to it, is amazing, and only because of the power of the internet. Is that possible? That I'm able to have people from Japan and Canada, I don't know, I mean, all over the world listen to something that I produced in my bedroom in Nacogdoches, Texas, deep East Texas. The paradigm has changed. I mean, you can go if you go to my website, you can download compositions I've written. If you want my symphony, you can download. You want a band piece? I have one on there. You can download all the parts and all that, and that's awesome. I'm not making money off of it, but again, I don't think any of us are in education because we care about a paycheck. You're in the wrong business, do something else. If I truly want to make a whole lot more money, I can make a whole lot more money doing computer stuff. But do I want to go and take spyware off of people's computers for 8 hours a day? I don't know. My pocketbook may be full, but my spirit will be empty. So there's so much more to teaching than, they'll tell anyone I would teach for free. I'd pay you to teach. I'd pay to let me teach people. I mean, I just enjoy it a great deal. Yes, ma'am.
Also, the value of this recording is that what I usually do is I'll wait till the kids really think they sound good. And then when you play them an actual recording, it really opens their eyes because, especially junior high level, they don't listen to each other. They're in their own little world playing. That's why they have so much trouble with intonation. And so, you think you did a good job? All right, let's listen to it. And they're like, oh, who's on? They say it themselves, and then like she said, you can get them to write 3 good things that you heard and 3 bad things that you heard, recommend to critics, and it's really valuable.
Yeah, I think about this, if I had this back when I was in school, and you know what, a little side note, you have at-risk kids. We all do. We all have. Imagine you have a cheap laptop that you're not using anymore, or a cheap desktop that you don't have anymore, put it in a practice room, put it somewhere, and everybody is a producer. Everybody wants to make beats. Everybody wants to make songs. And you, with a little keyboard, I didn't bring my keyboard at this time, but you can find a free sequencer. And basically, I'll do this real quick. I'll show you how to do this. I'm going to take a MIDI file that I got off the internet. And where's it at? This is Jesus Joy Man is Iron. And I got this off the internet. And what I'm going to do is, you say, well, how to convert a MIDI file into audio? Well, it's really almost a no-brainer. Open up iTunes. And I didn't realize this until like 2 years ago, but it will convert MIDI files into audio. Here's one little tip that I've done. If you right-click on this, make sure you say date added. And I use that all the time because I can't find some stuff sometimes when I in my library. So if I hit date added, I can always find what I'm doing. And there it is right here. And it's 5 minutes long. And again, it's MIDI. It's not perfect. I got ears. But let's say that I wanted to sing on top of that. Okay, well, I can go right-click on it, because I already have it set up to convert to WAV, and I convert it to WAV. And you can see right there, converting song to WAV. So that's how you convert a MIDI file into a WAV file. And I probably should pick the shorter one.
Drives my son nuts. I go and I get the MP3s, and I put them into iTunes, and I go, I forgot, how do I change this to a WAV so I can burn it on CD? I need a class today. And Bill goes, oh, Mom, go to preferences. How many times do I have to tell you this? But there's, go to something up there, and you just click burn, and it converts your MP3s automatically to waves and burns it on CD. Go put it in your CD player.
Yeah, I have a lot of folks that are that do like musical theater, or a lot of vocalists that can't play, and we have clavinovas that can save as MIDI files, and they bring them to me. And I showed them how to make it really quick, and that way they can take that and put a CD player, because everybody has a CD player that they can listen to, and what a great tool to use. That you could sing your aria at 3 o'clock in the morning when your accompanist is asleep. I hear tell that there's a organist that she recorded her organ things, and she passed away 5-6 years ago, and she's still playing today. Because they recorded her playing performances on MIDI, and she's still playing today. I guess a little bit gruesome, but. And here it is. Here's the WAV file, so I can just take that. And I probably should pick a little shorter one, but that's okay. We're all friends here. You can tell I taught elementary for a while, right? I tell that to the college kids. Say, "Well, friends. What are you talking about?" Friends? What friends?
And when you drop it in Audacity, it just automatically opens?
If I have to make sure that I converted it to WAV file. But once I have it to a WAV file, it will do also MP3s. It's a little bit slower with converting MP3s, so that's why I choose the WAV file. Yes, sir.
You just took it on your desktop and drug it to the icon?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's kind of a Mac paradigm. Mac users have been doing that forever. But if I wanted to, I can go under here and say File, Open, and do it that way as well.
Isn't that a Dell computer?
Yeah, I have my Mac over here. I'll go both ways, Mac and PC, because
Oh, okay.
I just do. That's one of the gifts I have is using technology. And I think, and hopefully another gift I have is that I can explain the technology in a way that people can understand it. And I hope that's a gift that I think I have that small gift. So now, let's say that they recorded something on Midi and they want to add their vocals to it. And I won't sing much. I'll vocalize a little bit, but I won't do much of that. And then, awesome. And then if I wanted to now, as file, save that as a WAV file, they can burn the CD, take it home, have their parents listen. When I have the kids come up from band camp and have them make a piece of music, and sometimes I do 2 or 3 of them, I say, well, let's burn a CD, and I take it home. I can only imagine their parents saying, you made that at band camp? You made that at percussion camp? Wow! And that's awesome to be able to show your friends and whatnot. And again, the paradigm has changed. All of us can be famous in our own way, if we want to. And which famous maybe the wrong word, but we can all produce things that at one point that we couldn't do. This here, this was probably, I don't know, $800 laptop, $1,000 laptop, whatever. I could do this on a $150 computer, $12 microphone. In a lot of ways, it's more powerful than the Beatles' Abbey Road studio was back in the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt. Yes, sir.
The Lane Kodak, whatever that was, where do you find it?
If you on the link there, it shows you right there where to go to it.
On the Audacity?
On the Audacity.
Oh,
If you want to save MP3s, make sure you download the Lane Kodak with it. Yeah, it's pretty easy to use. I'm trying to think. All I need to talk about Audacity. There's a lot more to it, but I think that's going to get your feet wet. And what I learned a long time ago is that if I give you way too much, you forget everything. If I just give you enough to get out there and get started with it, you can go on there. And there's a help on here that you can read through about it. For those folks that care about it, you can go find a lot more effects, and you can import those effects as well. So if you want to do some really...
Audacity?
For Audacity, you can find different effects and do some different EQs, different reverbs, different this, that, and the other, and whatnot.
Yeah, it comes with a compressor on there, so you can put him muffles like this. You can get him to
Yeah.
mess up a little bit.
So you can do some really fun things with that. Yes, ma'am.
Does Audacity have any kind of, say, a metronome function, so it'll give you an indication of beat, so if you're trying to add something to
There is a click track on here. Yeah, there is a click track on here. So, and then that way you could race it when you're done with that click track. Be honest, I don't play with metronomes too much anymore. I just don't.
I just meant
The function's there. I mean, I should play with the metronome, but I just.
Well, because can you then use that to line things up if you've got things that aren't
You can do that. You can do that. The way that I figured out how to do with our podcast with 3 people. All right, 1, 2, 3. I remember, all right, 3 sounded the best. So find 3 and line that up. Any, that's the end of the handout? Oh, awesome, awesome. And great, what a great piece of software for free. iTunes, if you want to know how to make a CD, I'll show you real quick how to make a CD. I'll hit the little plus button out here, and it's Untitled. Let's call it Herb for right now. And what I do is I take any song that I want from the library, and I say, I think, I should be able to just drag it in there. There we go. And I'll take my favorite song. And then once I'm in there, I'm doing this right. I must not have those. I must have erased some of these files. I don't think I have it. Well, in any case, I want to show that you can move them around and put them in different orders if you wanted to.
You can highlight the text, put it in a spreadsheet, and they'll even have the number of minutes on there and stuff like that, if the track is.
All right, let's just take this one for fun. So let's say that, all right, I want to move that one to be 1, and I want to move this one to be whatever. I can move down the tracks and put them in which order that I
Where's
want.
the nerd song?
Huh?
Where's the nerd song?
Oh, it's on my website. I don't want to waste your time with that. You go check that.
Is it there?
It's herbertmidgley.com. Let me
On a big screen, good sound and everything.
let me show you one last thing. Then we'll call it a day. Is for now, Notepad. Probably most of you are aware of this, right? This program. and I won't go through and do the tutorial on showing you everything about it. The thing about this is that, again, it's a free download. It's a free, works on Mac and PC. 2006 Notepad is off the hook. The sounds are great. It works really well. You can input notes really quick in this thing. And basically what comes up as a wizard. So this song and me. And let's say I want to do piano and doing a soprano, and we'll do a trumpet. Okay. And I can pick the time that I want, say 3/4, and I want to be in G. And it's pretty intuitive to do this. What I recommend, if you want to get pretty proficient on this really quick and you got 30 minutes to spend, in the folder that you get the thing, there's a thing that's called the Notepad Simple Entry Training Exercise. You go through all 10 of these pages, you'll be inputting notes really quickly without a MIDI keyboard, just using the typewriter on your computer. It's actually faster now. Back in my days, well, if I'm on a MIDI keyboard, I'm not inputting notes. Well, it's actually faster now using the arrows and using the typewriter to input notes. Do you use the MIDI keyboard, or do you still use?
I use both.
Use both?
Just
Yeah.
depends on what kind of stuff.
I'm really impressed at how easy and intuitive this Notepad works. And again, you can come do some really cool things. Let's see, where's my music for little people? Let's say Mr. Lynn. So the cool thing is that if you can't play piano, well, once you put this on here, and all of you guys can read music, right? So, which is, I teach, and this is a chant, so I just picked a non-pitch. I teach the music for children class for the non-music majors, the folks who are pre-K to 4th grade teachers, and most of them can't play piano or play instruments. Well, they could take this song here, have Notepad, which is free with the computer, and they can play it. Even if they can't sing it, or they can't do the rhythms, the computer will play it back for them. And I'll show them how to change the tempo. I even show them how the concept of what transposing means as well. And again, for a free piece of software, this is awesome. The thing about Notepad, if you don't know, that a Notepad document will open up a Notepad print music finale. So if you do something in the finale, you can open up a Notepad. You do something in Notepad, you can open a finale. Okay? You know, finale was a $300 range, $250 range, something like that for educators. Notepad is free. And when I show in the band camps, I show the kids how to use Notepad. That way, it gets their feet wet. If they feel like going on to the print music, which is $60, $70, something like that. And then, really, for most of y'all, all you need is print music. Really, I'll be honest with you. That's all you're doing. Most of you can get by with Notepad. I usually ask a person, what are you doing? Well, I want to do a little handout. Well, let me show you Notepad first. Yes, ma'am.
I have print music, and it takes like hours to put one part in.
Really?
Does me. I don't have a keyboard, though.
Use this tutorial go download Notepad and get this tutorial and try it out. You'd be surprised at how fast you can put notes in there with that. Just trust me. If you take the 30 minutes and go through all 10 pages, because you can press down different buttons and get different intervals. If you're doing chords, you can use it. You can hit A for go to A and then pick different octaves. And once you get used to using it, you can put notes in there relatively quick. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us in a nutshell what the limitations are of Notepad?
Yeah, the editing features are limited. The scoring's a little bit limited. If you want, you can't change meter in it, or I think you can change key signatures, but you can't change meter in it. So if it's 3/4, it's 3/4 for the whole time. But most of the things that you do, you're not changing mixed meter. You're not doing mixed meter most of the time, anyways. If I would have had this back in college, I could have used this for most of the things I did in composition. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is your training worksheet.
Worksheet.
Yeah, okay. I haven't figured out, I've been playing around with Notepad, and my kids are using it Wednesday. But if, say, I want 2 separate lines and then text in between, am I going to have to like cut and paste and put this over in Word, or what do I? Or say if I'm doing a sheet of scales, I haven't figured out how to do that yet.
I see what you're saying. I think you need to have print music. The one thing you can do is, as you probably know, you hit the text here and you type in, you make a text box. So, I mean, You can do this.
Right, but I can't start another staff after. you know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, but you can't do that with print music?
Print music, you can do that. Print music is basically Finale without a few of the bells and whistles, and it's stuff that you never use, stuff that I never use in Finale most of the time anyways. Well, I think my time's almost up. Any questions? I'm glad you guys are sharing some information with us all. We got kind of learned. I learned some things today, which was great. Anybody else? Any other? No other questions? Yes, sir. No? Yes, Richard. Thank you all so much for coming out and enjoy University of County TMEA. And thank you again, y'all. I appreciate it.